Okay.
Hi,
Okay.
Jackie's phone.
Jackie's phone.
Jackie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay, I think. Oh, yes. No. We are live. All right. I think we can get the party started. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us tonight on Cancer Conversations and Choices. We're excited to bring with you another excellent talk tonight about the sun and what it does, the benefits, and how we're missing out on things and how we're missing out on those opportunities for our bodies and for healing and what we can do to be able to help get that healing energy from the sun. My name is Marinette Smith. I'm a registered nurse and holistic cancer coach. I do need to let you know that we are just providing you guys information and education for your benefit. If you choose to implement anything that we talk about tonight, that is up to you for you to discuss with your healthcare team and see if it's a safe thing for you to do so, if that's okay for you to implement, whatever it is that you might hear. We just want to make sure that you're safe and you do things accordingly to, continue to stay in that safety. So yeah, I'll take it over to Maya and Deb to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Saman. I'm a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner and holistic cancer coach.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deborah Herkey, and I am a holistic cancer coach and a functional nutrition lifestyle practitioner as well.
Cool.
All right, let's get this party started. I know Maya has lots of notes, Deb has lots of notes, I have some notes, so we're gonna have to see where we go from all of with all of this. Where should we start tonight, ladies?
We kind of gonna continue the conversation we had last week on energy, on sun, and cancer. We decided to continue today because there's still a lot to talk about, and we didn't have much time to finish our conversation and completing that. So we're just going to continue on that part.
Yeah, there's just so much to talk about on this subject and on this topic. We probably could have quite a few episodes just even on this and, just bringing the awareness to people. So yeah, there's just so much that happens that our bodies just need that interaction with the sun to be able to continue to function properly and optimally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I've been thinking this. We've been so obsessed with nutrition, especially when it comes to healing and getting better. We kind of think like we have to change our food, our nutrition, which we do. I'm not saying we don't. But there's a whole another picture that we have to pay attention to beside the nutrition. Because you can, everything we eat, it's basically converted into the energy in our body. How do we get that energy? How does the mitochondria get energy? And that's what the part that we're missing out, and we are not been exposed to that factor, and I think that's why a lot of people, when they get better, but then they stop at halfway, and it doesn't matter what they do, they're kind of stuck. They cannot move forward. And I've seen that on myself. I've seen that on so many, people. So, and I think there's two other things. There's a few other things, which is like, of course, sunlight, which gives us energy, free energy. And then there's, of course, the water itself, because the way body, uses the water to make energy. That's another way. And the sun plays a big role. And I think that's where we got stuck. And that's what stimulates and balances our entire circadian rhythm, because our circadian rhythm, like, what is it, like 24-hour, functioning system that basically it's a built-in software, basically, and that software has been malfunctioning in a lot of people's, lives, because of the lifestyle we have nowadays is so different from, lifestyle our parents and grandparents had even like 20, 30 years ago, because we have been exposed to electronics, and we've been exposed to a higher level of EMF,
Mhm.
So, and that's what changes a lot in human body, and it changes a lot in the circadian rhythm, and that been affecting mitochondrial function. And like diving deep into that field is like a kind of, for me, is an eye opener that nutrition is not everything.
Mhm.
We need the nutrition, but it's not everything.
Mhm.
And what is the other part of it? That's what, like, so kind of learning about it and bringing to the table to
Mhm.
understand, because for me it's also a new field. Like I've been like kind of, diving deep in this field in quantum biology, like about a year and a half. And what
Mhm.
I'm learning is basically changing so many things, the way I look at the healing process of the body's healing process. I'm kind of resetting that whole system that we were been told to, um, that nutrition,
Mhm.
which I agree again, but it's not everything.
Exactly. There's so much
So,
more. It's like
mhm,
there's just so much more that's involved in
right.
healing and, getting your health back to being optimal. And I was like you, I don't know about you, Deb, but I was at this, I mean, geez, what was it? This winter, earlier spring, at a loss. I didn't know what else to do. I felt like I was doing everything, nutrition wise, whatever. So I was like you, Maya, discovered
Mhm,
quantum biology. I mean, first it was quantum mechanics and quantum physics, then quantum biology. And
right.
then you just realize, one, how important the sun is.
Hmm.
And two, actually, the whole circuit, the whole cycle and circle of things, how important it is that we are in nature and with nature, because that's truly, truly where we do our healing at.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's incredible to think about it, because if you think, I just kind of think of it this way: mainstream media, social media, growing up, we heard so much about our nutrition, right? Nutrition and exercise, eat right, exercise, get the right sleep. Okay.
Hmm.
But if you're doing all three of those, what else is there? What else is there? What else is there that you could be doing? Grounding, going outside, but most
Yeah.
importantly, getting in connected with the sun again.
Yes.
It
So,
provides
yeah.
so many beneficial, like there's so many key things that happen in your body. Especially like one thing, and this helps with your energy, is like nitric oxide isn't really, I mean, it's activated by the sun and then it's
Yes.
released off your skin
Yeah.
from the sun, which creates so many wonderful benefits for you. But if we don't
Hmm.
have that exposure, what's happening to it?
Well, we're telling people to take, like, I mean, we were
Hmm.
told to take supplement of nitric oxide, which
Exactly.
which works completely differently, because well, there's so many things, because nitric oxide, anything that comes exogenously, it's very compounded. It's very tight, build up.
Hmm.
That what I'm learning is any supplement that we're taking in, it does affect a water structure inside the cell of human body.
Yes.
So, and that is, like, to me, is just like, oh, wow. The thing that
Hmm.
the body should do in conjunction with like a nutrition and the sunlight, because our human body is basically a battery that get charged
Hmm.
from what by water and sun, right? So it creates the energy. So the way the body creates energy is through the electron transport chains, which in the cell, I believe we make it from food we eat. It's so
Hmm.
interesting, right? So,
Hmm.
and to me is so when we isolate a product in the form of supplements and we take it, and then we add that into our body, so we change the structure of the water in the body, which
Yes.
also plays such a big role. And that water, it's basically, my understanding is the water, like H2O, you
Hmm.
know adds another atom of H2, it becomes like two atoms of oxygen and one, carbon, and then that is deuterium water. that is
Yes.
a water becomes so thick that it's hard to go through the mitochondrial cell and creates the energy. And to me, that was like, oh my gosh, this is so mind blowing to me.
Mhm.
Like we take it because we read it somewhere, we listen something, and we have to do this, we have to go there, we have to take this, we have to try that, but without realizing the internal damage on the cellular level. I was
Yes.
always curious, like we taking all the supplements, are we damaging ourselves or are we benefiting ourselves?
Mhm.
So, and now it's like the answer actually, we are damaging ourselves.
Yes.
That's so
So-
interesting.
So is
Yeah.
that, oh, go ahead, Deb.
Oh, I was just going to say, to add on that just a little bit is the fact that I've been outside most of the day today. It seems like, and I have my sunglasses, right? So kind of, so we're talking about sun and melatonin and whatnot, and I thought, well, I'll just keep my sunglasses on. But the truth of the matter is, you really don't want to wear sunglasses for at least a good portion of the time, because your eyes are signaling your brain. It sends signals to the brain, which stimulates the production of the melatonin. So that's something to consider also too when you're outside.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so when I did my hike, I couldn't figure out. I thought, gosh, I felt so good when I got back and done with everything. And what I mean is, I was gone for a month, about 6 weeks, outside every single day from about 5 o'clock in the morning. Didn't come in until 5 or 6 at night, and hiking all day, every day. And one of the things I thought, gosh, it was just we ate good, we ate better. But it was exercise, and I figured, oh, it's the exercise. But to be perfectly honest, I really think it was being outside, being one with nature, being in the
Yes.
sunlight. And a lot of times I didn't wear my sunglasses. I didn't wear them at all. And it was probably the best that I have felt in a really, really long time. In doing some of the research and everything, I definitely contribute it to that.
Yes.
I really do.
Absolutely.
It was huge. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Mhm.
So.
I
Yeah.
Annette, would I be able to share a screen? Verifying the
Yes, you
screen.
should be able to. I
I
didn't
would
put
do
any
that,
other.
yeah.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to share a screen very quickly.
So while you're doing that, one of the things that sunlight does is that it contains blue light. So sunshine,
Yes.
sun rays contain blue light, which is particularly effective, really effective at triggering the melatonin production.
Yeah.
And so the sunlight helps with that, but it synchronizes the body's circadian rhythm, like Maya has mentioned also, which is your 24-hour sleep cycle. And that means exposure to that sunlight in the morning can prepare your body for sleeping really well at night, because your melatonin production is up, and that's what makes you sleep, makes you tired.
Right.
And then with I don't know, let me know when you're ready to share your
Yeah.
screen.
Yep.
But I was just going to talk.
Yeah.
I was just going to talk about the where
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Vincent,
Okay.
yes.
Just very quickly to talk about this Dr. Niles Ryberg Vincent. I hope I said his name right. So he got a Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine in 1903, and by doing a research and study on treating his patients who had a tuberculosis or skin tuberculosis with the sunlight only. So this is 1903 we're talking about. So healing with the sunlight been around for over a decade, if not longer than that. But his research kind of went under the rug or under the table, because around that time, that's when the pharma had developed penicillin. When they had to use the penicillin. So this kind of study went down to the, I'm going to stop sharing this. So that study kind of tapered down, and it went under table. And there's after that, there are many doctors in 1930s, in 1960s, 70s, had been showing the interaction of the sun on the cellular level and production of energy actually, and the healing mitochondria, because we all know there's diseases related to nuclear DNA damage or mutation are very rare, and they're not a lot. The diseases in human body gets developed by the mitochondrial damage. And the mitochondria depends a lot on the sunlight because it does get the, the energy from sun. But getting the energy, like you said, UDEP said that melatonin is a huge in daylight melatonin. There's a two type of melatonin. There's daylight melatonin, there's a night melatonin. Night melatonin is sleep-wake hormone. Day melatonin is an important antioxidant. So, and here's another thing that I have been reading a lot. I got tons of books that I have right now on quantum biology and trying to read and trying to break down, because I have to read very slowly. And there's a lot of words for me new to my vocabulary. So I have to break down everything. And what I'm learning is I've heard about deuterium water a lot. Like I've been hearing a lot, especially in the cancer world. Like by drinking deuterium water, people can, eliminate cancer. And I was like, okay, what's a deuterium water? So deuterium water is basically a fluid inside the cell, in the mitochondria. So that actually changes.
Maya,
yes.
how do you spell that? I just want to make sure that.
It's
how do you spell that? And I'll put that.
DEUTERIM, deuterium.
Deuterium.
Yeah, deuterium.
Okay.
Water.
Are you putting it in the chat?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that correct? DEUTERIM?
Oh, yeah.
Deuterium?
Yes,
okay.
deuterium water. Yeah. I was I came across of like I wanted to buy a book, but the book was so expensive. So I just start looking for for the studies. A professor from I believe so from France, Gabor Samler, I believe so. It's Gabor is GABOR, SOMLYAI. He's a biologist, molecular cell biologist and biologist who studied deuterium water, and it's been around for a long time. Again, since 70s, we knew about it, and it's coming to life just past recently, and it's coming to life because biohacking industry picking up, and they're trying to make it and sell it to people, of course, to make money. But the thing is, our body is capable of doing that, and that's how we did it. We just have to know what to do. Mm-hmm. So when I came across of some of his papers, so that's what he said, that if people use supplements or especially antioxidants, they increase the deuterium depleted water. Because in human body, deuterium depleted water, you can test it. Actually, there's a test that tests people for deuterium water. So deuterium water has to be in human body around a level of 120, 125, 130 per million, like ppm. Mm-hmm. And the cells start developing cancer when that deuterium depleted water goes into 150 part per million. So, and that's in the damaged mitochondria. Mm-hmm. That's in the mitochondria has low energy. It cannot make energy because deuterium depleted water slows down that energy production, because it's kind of like inside the cell, the way that I'm understanding, we mm-hmm. have this a spinners that spins with the speed of light to make energy, mm-hmm. right? So deuterium depleted water, because it's heavy, it slows down those spins mm-hmm. to make energy. So it's so fascinating to me, and
can I just interrupt you? It actually reminds
Yeah,
me
yeah.
of sludge. So like when I was sitting
Mhm.
here thinking, well, as you're describing it, and when I think of deuterium
Yeah.
water, that's actually what I think of sludge. I kind of think of like, because
Yeah.
sometimes you'll hear of people getting like a sludgy gallbladder. Probably it's probably related to that. I mean, if you think about it, your cells, the fluids are not flowing in and out. They're getting
Yeah.
sludgery, they're getting gunked up. And that's how I
Right.
just kind of like think about it when you're thinking of deuterium water versus in your cells. If it's, I mean, you kind of think of, yeah, like it's sludgy, it's gunky, it's full of
Yeah.
toxins, it's full of
Right.
just gunk that your body needs to honestly get rid of,
Right.
but it's not getting rid of it.
Yeah. And
Now, Maya, how did antioxidants affect that? Did you say antioxidants?
so
How,
antioxidants is like, especially during cancer, when people, like, I don't like recommending antioxidants, and actually consuming the food that high in antioxidant, that would
Mhm.
kind of slow down that, like the body of getting rid of that deuterium depleted water. So
Mhm.
we need a deuterium water, which has
Okay.
one hydrogen, molecule.
Mhm.
So deuterium depleted water is two hydrogen molecules that makes it heavy. The water becomes heavy. So, and that's therefore it's hard to, to generate the energy. And by generating energy, not being able to generate energy, the cell slows down in many things.
Okay.
The one of the main things is like making melatonin, for example. So the infrared sunlight do play a big role. In addition to the diet, we talk about like, and it does, how we did talk about ketogenic diet or carnivore diet, like, people are getting better, and people who have cancer, they seem have showing like a good response to that. And then there's some like studies came out that ketogenic diet is not, it could cause secondary cancer based on research in the mice. So, and which to me is completely, because they're not checking the whole energy aspect of the in the research on the mice was a ketogenic diet, but it seems like fat does create a better energy and eliminate deuterium depleted water. So the fat, actually, the body would make energy from everything, from carbohydrates, from proteins, and from, using everything, lipids. So the easiest energy to generate energy is actually fat, which I was always like, how does ketogenic diet could help with cancer? Higher fat, and because some people like it. So in Jane McLennan's book, she was taking statin drugs to lower the lipids, right? Remember that in her book when she had a presentation at the Annie Appleseed, she
Yep.
was talking about taking statin drugs to lower the cholesterol levels. But the problem is not that. The problem is that my understanding is not being exposed to the sunlight, that cholesterol would convert to vitamin D.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're not in the sun
Now,
and
Maya, where does she live?
She lives in England. I believe so. She's from UK.
So very interesting, because I'm from the Pacific Northwest, born and raised. And what
Yeah.
is it? Dark, gloomy, rainy. We don't
Right.
get the sunshine. We
Yeah.
miss that quite a bit, and it's amazing because so that's why I asked that, because I thought, wait a minute, I think she's from England. And anyway, I just think I think that when you look at let's say, for example, map of the United States, Pacific Northwest, their type of weather, and you start swinging to the south towards Florida, I have
Yeah.
always heard, people have always said, the people are nicer in the south. They're just more friendly. And I thought, well, that's because the people in the Northwest were stuck inside for 9 months out of the year because it's such nasty weather. We don't get the sunshine. The mood is different. It's just, and we don't get that vitamin D. We have higher rates of MS. We have
Mhm.
just a lot more things that we're lacking because of the
Mhm.
sun as they
Yes.
do in the South. And now I live in South
Yeah.
Carolina. And
Well, and I can even like I can
I'm
add to that. There's statistics and studies
I'm out here.
showing that there like most areas, people that live in areas that are populated in sunnier areas, the cancer risk is lower.
yeah.
Like
Yes.
it doesn't matter
Yeah.
where it's at, what culture, the cancer risk is lower where there is more sun. And it is, it's because people get more sunlight. You're able to get all of those bodily interactions, you know, that you need to be able to clear toxins,
Mhm.
get the energy that you need, you know, create the serotonin, melatonin, all those things, vitamin D, you're able to use what's in with your body with the sun to be able to help protect
Mhm.
yourself. Like really, like you brought up a really excellent point, Deb. Even people that live at higher elevations, you know, mountainous areas, like higher, yeah, away from the equator. I mean, your lack of vitamin D. I mean, most people, if you have not checked it, you probably should. You should probably get your vitamin D level checked because it's probably low. The
Yeah.
majority of people are chronically low in that area, and a lot of it is because you're not getting the sunlight exposure to be able to convert the cholesterol that you have in your body into the vitamin D.
But I believe so because, half of the world does live in a higher altitude,
Hmm.
where they don't have uh, uh, a sunlight exposure. That's what I'm
Hmm.
saying. Human physiology is very intelligent. Humanity cannot just move to the equator, and
Hmm.
just piled up there and live, right? So,
Right.
uh, I know that's what
Well,
I'm saying. So no, no, I'm just saying like close to the, to sun areas and live
Yep.
there. So,
hmm.
but a human, because based on the altitude, that's why like, um, our genes also matters, like where we're from,
Hmm.
and people who live on a higher altitude, and if they're not exposed to the sunlight, they can still generate energy and be exposed to hot and cold.
Hmm.
Like instead of like bundling themselves up in the wintertime, they have to expose their body to the drastic temperature changes. That's where the body creates heat,
Hmm.
and that heat is basically infrared, like red light. So when it create heat, it would make basically same thing what you get when people get something from being exposed to the sun. So that's another very interesting thing that I came across when I was listening, because there are some people, they don't, their D levels are fine even living on a higher altitude, because they're not like, uh, let's say Wim Hof, for example. He sits in the icy water for a couple of hours, because his body generates heat at that time. you
Hmm.
know the breathing is very important. The way we have to breathe is another thing, to be able to generate the heat. That's why when it comes to human, like understanding like how to help someone who has cancer diagnosis, or whatever the diseases out there, it's like we have to pay attention to every little aspect of that person's life. And then when it comes to cancer, I believe so. It was Robert O. Becker, a physicist. Like he first came on 60 Minutes in 1970s, 73 or something, when he said that EMF does affect like electromagnetic waves from exogenous EMFs that does affect human circadian rhythm and human cell. And
Mhm.
his lab was destroyed, and his work was destroyed, and um, everything got kind of covered up. Like he was the first one who kind of addressed like electromagnetic wave and effect on human body. So, and I believe so. He said that if people, I believe so, it was him or someone else, I don't know. If people uh, get cancer living in certain zip code, you don't want to continue living in the same area that created cancer in the body. You have to relocate somewhere else,
Oh,
because
that's
that
interesting.
it's very interesting. I was like, what? And the explanation is so clear because of like exposure to so many external, you know, whether there's a high EMF. Of course, when people live closer to the city, or compacted areas, they would get higher EMF because like more people get connected to their cell phones and to their computers in comparison to people who live outside of the city in a rural area. So the exposure to those EMFs are not as strong as the in a crowded area. So that's why some people, Dr. Jack Cruz would say, like, I wouldn't go to Florida in the wintertime because everyone from North goes to Florida in the wintertime. And that the
Oh,
exposure of the AMF is higher in the wintertime in Florida
mhm.
than in the summertime, for example, when people don't go to Florida that much or any warm country. And that makes so much sense to me. It just like, especially if you go to areas where it's too crowded, because everyone is on their cell phone, everyone is on their like computers, they're using those computers, and that's where, another damage, of course, to the cell. And that's where the in addition to the blue light, we're getting a damage. And that's why when we talk about like, okay, we gotta turn off the, Wi-Fi, we gotta turn off that, we just talk about it without even understanding in depth, like what kind of damage did that cause on the cellular level, and I like now it's like before I was so addicted to my computer. I mean, we do a lot of things on the computer. And now it's like when I go to bed, like I'm just closing the computer because I don't want to touch it now when I'm like, when I go to bed, I close my computer, put it away, and I just go and lay down. And before I would just sleep with computer in my hand. It's so, and
Yeah.
now it's like when you understand like a deeper picture, you
Mhm.
don't want to touch it. You don't want to get close to that,
No, not really. Yeah,
right?
like once you start realizing things, it just
Yeah,
changes your perspective. Hopefully, that's
yeah,
the hope. Like, you're
yeah,
able to see it.
yeah. And same thing as we spoke last week on the sunscreens is
Mhm.
exposure to the sunscreen. It's not like your body is sensitive to the sun.
Mhm.
It's you're covering yourself with something that's causing the damage to your skin and burning to your skin. You have to pay attention what's burning, your skin from the sun. It's not the sun.
What
It's
about people that are fair skinned though, like that have, because I know certain people that I know in my personal life that have very, very fair skin. They don't really ever tan. It's more
yeah.
like they burn. And so like they'll even watch like the index on on weather apps or whatever to see if it's
Mhm.
even really safe for them to go out much. So how do you go about that part? I haven't actually ever really looked into that piece, so I didn't know if maybe you have that. Deb, if
So,
you do.
yeah. So this is how I understood. People with a fair skin, they have a low level of melanin. Melanin is
Hmm.
basically that helps your skin get tan, right?
Yep.
Melanin gets bind to opsin, which is, I believe, so protein, and I believe so together they generate melanopsin, if I'm not mistaken. Again, this whole field is so new to me, so for me to kind of like go to complete understanding, it would take some time. But
Hmm.
so that uh so people when they have a fair skin, they have this melanopsin, I think, on the lower level than they should have, and that's why they have a fair skin. That's another. So building your body to sun exposure gradually and building
Hmm.
that melanin, because we have a receptors of melanin mostly in our brain and our skin and our
Hmm.
eyes, and then skin has some too. So we're just gradually building up. When we gradually building up, we're getting more, not as sensitive to the sunlight
Hmm.
as we need to. And of course, for people with a fair skin, like I would not get exposed like in the midday, for example, when there's a higher blue light
Yes.
in the sun. The sun goes through different waves, right?
Hmm.
Infrared, like purple infrared and other lights. And then in the midday, it's usually where more blue lights
Hmm.
and blue lights. But even with the blue lights, when the sun raises, they still have some infrared and violet, you know, lights coming
Hmm.
through with the blue light. That's why sun being exposed to the sun blue light is not as dangerous being exposed to artificial blue lights. And then if you look at it, I was just curious with my son. We looked it up, like computer skin and the phone screen has 7,000, I think, MPM. Like whatever they're breaking down, 7,000 to make the screen clear, in comparison to the blue light that we get during the day, midday, from the sun, which is between 600, I think, to 800 MPM. So the difference is huge. And of course, the damage we get, especially through our eye and the brain, is very strong from that exposure to the LED lights. And not forget that when the nighttime comes, we turn on the lights everywhere in our house, right? And then we get even more exposed to those, LED blue lights, artificial blue light. So kind of bringing more damage into the body. So
wow, our entertainment is really not helping us, is it?
TV and everything, no, not really.
No. Especially, we spend so much time on our phones, on our computers and everything, and we're heads down. We're, faced with that, but a lot of times we're inside. I mean, I don't know how many people actually take their computers outside or anything, or if their phone, they can't see, so they go inside somewhere where it's darker so they can actually see. So therefore, they're not getting that sunshine. One of the things I wanted to bring up real quick, though, Maya, that you were talking about too, is so in case folks don't know, melatonin is a hormone, and it's produced in the pineal gland, which is located in your brain.
That is a that's a sleep wake hormone.
From the chemical.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Melatonin, it is a hormone that's produced in the pineal gland from the chemical melanin. So we talked about melanin, and we talked about sunscreen. So when you put that sunscreen on, you're blocking the melanin that is, because melanin is produced in the skin through sun exposure. So when you don't have that, it's a block. So that's why they call it sunblock, right? But it's also blocking more things that is more detrimental to you than, it's stopping the production of increasing the melatonin that you produce in your body. That helps you for so many things that we had already discussed. But I just wanted to bring that up and just share that with you as well. So in case folks didn't know where melatonin came from and where it is produced. So.
Yeah. And melatonin is, especially, that's what, like melanin, and melatonin, like you said, that we get melatonin because of the melanin. So anything that ends on IN, like serotonin, tryptophan, dopamine, like IN, IM, whatever. So they all connected to each other. Especially melatonin is precursor for tryptophan, dopamine, and serotonin. And serotonin get produced mostly in the gut, and so Dr. Jack Kruse said that he did see, because he was a neurosurgeon. He said that people who would get surgeries, brain surgeries, they would always have digestive problems. Following the surgery, following the brain surgery, they would get digestive problems because of the gut-brain axis, because of the direct communication of the bacteria and the brain. And the communication goes through the energy pathways. It's like, it's so interesting, the things that we never paid attention before. Now we're kind of paying attention. Of course, digestive system is such a complex part of the body that to understand everything, we still are not there to understand what exactly microbiome is, like the what exactly, how do they come? We know, like the science does know they do communicate, like through energy. That's why you immediately feel like, either in the digestive system or in the brain, or vice versa, I think. you know, you would immediately feel like, you know, if people are scared, they would get anxious at the same time, basically. Can you imagine the speed of light that communicates that between your microbiome and your gut? It's so fast. It
Ex-
happens with such a,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, well,
So,
and even if
yeah.
you think about it too, with like the chemical reactions that are happening too at the same time. So, say if you're not eating something that's not very well, that's going to disrupt everything from flowing very well. You know,
Mhm.
I kind of think of it that way. It's like that disruption of flow. If I'm trying to think of a good analogy for it because, like, honestly, if we're disrupting that, how are our bodies going to be able to continue to function? You know, like we're supposed to
Right.
because and it's so simple if you really think about it. If we were just to go back to nature as much as possible, we would probably all feel a lot better. But are we willing to be able to what is it? Remove some of the conveniences and the easiness and all those other great, wonderful things, you know, for the sake of our health,
Yeah.
you know, that's really where it kind of comes down to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's fascinating when you start digging into it. It's really, and this is what's so fascinating about holistic health and holistic care is because it's the whole person. It's on so many things. It's everything involved in your life. And so if you don't address, you know, each area, you're going to have issues.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just, yeah, one of those things. But
Yeah.
I was going to actually ask you too, you guys, really quick about structured water, because I know that there's, you know, we were talking about the deuterium and whatnot, but there's also a lot of, you know, questions about structured water and it being activated by the sun and us drinking it that way, because what we're really drinking is considered like dead water because it's not flowing. It's not flowing from a stream. It's not flowing. It wasn't in a body of water. We isolated it and took it away from it. Then, you know, that also possibly interrupting the signaling back and forth as well.
I don't know about structured water, be honest with you. I didn't go to that part yet. But
Oh,
when I was listening, because like when I was listening to this guy, Professor Victor, what was his last name? Oh my gosh, I forgot. Anyhow, I forgot. He is a guy who studied deuterium depleted water and deuterium water for about 25, 27 years. And he was talking about, um, being exposed to deuterium water. I mean, not exposed, the deuterium water in nature is like in different parts of the world and are different. Like, and it makes different even like living like on the top of the hill and the bottom of the hill. I mean, like on a, it depends where you're at. So there are more deuterium depleted water by the ocean. I think it's more dense than being away from the ocean, but that doesn't mean in the body you know, how does it affect? So, by drinking water, we are not lowering the deuterium depleted water. So it's actually vice versa. It's actually not drinking a lot of water. We're letting the body to burn, fat
hmm
that basically eliminate that extra hydrogen from the water.
hmm
I was very interesting listening to him too. I listened to him, but I gotta go a little bit deeper. So all this like so this is what he said. This is might blow a lot of people's mine too,
Uh-oh.
including mine, that when we talk about hydration,
hmm
we're actually misleading people like into drinking a lot of water, chugging water all day long, which I do. Like I sit and I drink water all day all long. Like, we're actually not doing ourselves a favor. We're doing opposite. So that was something to me, new thing. And
That
I
goes
don't,
I don't
against
know.
everything we've
I was
been
gonna, s-
told,
I
I
right?
was
it
actually
goes
gonna say,
over.
I don't know if I actually fully agree. I don't know. I'm gonna have to really dig into the science on that because I don't know that I
That one.
actually fully agree. Because if you think about the pathology, patho and physiology, in the body and the
Yeah.
pathways, like you need to have enough water to be able to flush
Our
things
body is
out.
60% water. That's why I'm saying our body is 60% water. So that's why I gotta go kind of dive into the deep in that part. That's why I just brought it up, but I don't want to go any
Mhm.
deeper than what I've heard. for example,
Yeah.
past week. I want to go and learn a little bit more. And he goes like, for example, for him, the way
Mhm.
he does to balance his deuterium water is by doing dry fasting. You
That
know,
part does make sense because then that way you're able to clear, your body's able to clear the buildup in your body and be able to balance it back out. But I don't
uh,
know. I'm gonna have to really, we're gonna have to dig into that. We're gonna have to
I
dig
know.
your, and we're gonna
Yeah,
have to
that's
have a
something
discussion
that,
on
yeah,
this
yes, that's
because
something.
More
yeah.
research.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is something I'm gonna dig into, of course. And because I'm a person like who loves drinking water and I do drink a lot of water. So so the one thing I start paying attention as even though today at the Andrea's office hours calls, like she was talking about, we don't have to, we should not label ourselves based on the label that we were put on at the doctor's office, like, oh, I have a diabetes, or
Oh,
I have that, I have that.
absolutely.
Um, but I would say, like, as someone who have a diabetes,
Hmm.
so been like doing this like very strict sun exposure past like 4 weeks, like just literally waking up with the sunrise, spending a couple of hours outside and trying to spend as much time as I can outside, minimum about 5 hours a day sitting outside. I just wanted to experiment this and see like how does my body changes. And this is so far what I'm seeing is like my circadian rhythm like kind of changing in terms of like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I cannot keep myself up.
Hmm.
As soon as it gets dark outside, I just want to go lay down and sleep.
Hmm.
But I'm up by 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm just like wide awake and I have like so much energy. And I've been checking my blood glucose levels and it's keep going down just because my body get exposed to the sunlight. Because in the morning, and this is another thing, in the morning, when I come and I don't take medications, right? So I come out, so straight from my bedroom, basically outside. It's
Hmm.
still like a little like, you know, dark outside, and within like 5-10 minutes it gets brighter and my eyes gradually like start getting exposed to the daylight. Uh that's where the GLP production increases,
Hmm.
and insulin just by exposing yourself to the sunlight. And when we talk about
Hmm.
diabetes and balancing blood sugar levels, the diet is not the only pathway to balance your blood glucose levels,
Mm-mm.
That's true.
right?
Nope.
So
Yeah.
that's
Or the
something is like,
pathway.
yeah, I start
Yes.
seeing, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I start seeing and
But we
understanding
don't but
more.
we don't get educated on that though, Maya. That's the thing. We don't get
No,
educated on that. It's just
no,
one way and that's the way it is
no,
and no different.
right.
And what you said about labeling, I think that's really true. And I think for as cancer coaches, I think that's one of the things that I know for myself. It was like I am not going to let cancer define who I am. And I think that's like this, like
Mm-hmm.
diabetes is not the end all be all for me because that's not who I am. And and I thought that was an interesting talk though that Andrea said today as well, but that is true. But and I just thought, as cancer coaches, I don't anyway. It's like you,
Hmm.
in order to overcome that, and
Hmm.
over
Yeah.
to overcome that label, which we're really good at labeling everything, and it just seems to take over, and you have to be
Well,
the one in control.
exactly. And
Yes.
I can actually
Yeah.
add on to that because I've been saying that, well, for the last 10 years since I was diagnosed with cancer. Really, if you, and this goes back to neuroscience too. So if you go and you relate yourself with any one condition, any one disease, your body is going to manifest that. Your brain does not understand or differentiate between fiction and fact. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're telling yourself every day, I'm sick, I'm in pain, I'm on this and that, that's what's going to end up happening. The other part that ends up is you end up associating with it. So like I have not said my cancer, I'll say the cancer that I dealt with, the cancer that I was dealing with, the cancer that was in my body, because then that way you are not literally attaching yourself to that illness. And so your body is then able, your brain is able to separate it. So then your body is able to seriously get rid of it because your body doesn't want to, your brain doesn't want to get rid of anything that's really truly part of your body, right? Like I think we could probably all agree on that. Your brain wants to keep you safe. Well, if you're identifying with your disease or illness, symptoms, whatever, as you, your body, your brain is going to protect that part of you. So you're just going to continue to get sicker and sicker and sicker. And sometimes that can be a hard truth to hear, you know, but it's really true. I mean, if we say, you know, I like I said, again, with cancer was not a part of me. I just had to get rid of it.
No,
And I know you guys
no.
think the same
Right?
way. You guys were
Exactly.
both the same
Exactly.
way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. When I fell and broke my elbow, I developed frozen shoulder. And I was told, well, we don't know. Sometimes, you know, people come in for shoulder surgery and they just wake up and they have frozen shoulder. I'm like, well, what does that mean? You know? And so I went through physical therapy. And when I was talking with her, she goes, you know, this is my thought on it. She goes, I think it's all mental. And I go, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, because she goes, there's really no reason for it. This is the way she was explaining it to me and everything. I thought, well, that's interesting. So the thing was, I have never had an injury or anything like that where I literally could not move my left arm. And it was fascinating to me because I would sit there and be like, oh my gosh, this is what it's like to not to be impaired where I can't move my arm. I mean, I would try and be like, nope, I can't do it. I couldn't lift my arm up. I had to take my right arm and move my left one onto the table, and then I had to take it back down because it would be painful. And it wasn't until I thought, okay, so if that's the case, and she goes, it's your brain that got down. It's a trauma. It's trauma. She goes, your brain now thinks this part doesn't exist. Therefore, it doesn't work. So I'm going to spare you the pain and the agony of everything, and it just won't work anymore. Now, I thought that was interesting, and I thought, well, let's try it. Let's do this. So I started going to the gym outside of physical therapy, and I started doing the elliptical. And I was I'm a runner, so I would try running, and I couldn't because my shoulder would automatically go up, so I'd have to push it down just because it was just like, there's that protective piece again. So I thought, okay, elliptical, grab the handles, and it forced my brain and this arm to actually do the same movements as the right. I had to retrain my brain and my body to say, it's okay, it is there, and I can move it. And it took a good 9 months for it to actually come back, and I can move it, and I have zero restrictions, on it now. But it was the most fascinating thing to go through. And so, yes, I do believe that, Marinette. I think it's not just cancer. It's anything that we probably are going through. Now, granted, if somebody could say, well, what about spinal cord injuries? That's
well, although
it's not. Although right?
have you heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza? He actually never had surgery, and he went and did so many hours of meditation, basically trained his brain, went through his whole body as if it was perfect, because he was a doctor. He was a doctor. So he knew the human body like no other. And so he went through each and every area of his body. If he get distracted, bring it back. And he would make himself in his brain whole. So his brain began to think he was whole. His body was healing itself. So yes, even spinal cord, there's, if you guys ever want to, go on to Dr. Joe Dispenza's testimonials, and you guys can search all sorts of things that have amazing, miraculous things that have happened. And it really is truly because people harnessed what was really capable inside of themselves.
Yes. Never say never. So it is, the brain, the mind is the most powerful thing we can do. It just is.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Really
spiritual connectedness.
Yes.
Everything.
Right. Well, it changes the energy in our human body. Let's just start from there, because it changes the energy, and it gives you more positive energy. And that's what changes Joe Dispenza, Wendy. And that changes that changes the hormones, the growth hormones. That's another thing, like a growth hormones and cancer. So what I'm seeing right now, actually my daughter, we start doing the same thing together, me and my daughter. Like at the first we got alarm, like, getting up, waking up in the morning so we can come out with the sunrise and then spend time when there's sunset, like to get those infrared light. Now she said that, Mom, I have no problem. Like she is in bed by 8:30. She goes like, I cannot keep myself up. Like she just goes to bed and she falls asleep. She wakes up like, and she comes with me like at 7. Like, she goes like, I have no problem waking up right now. So this is what we start, like you said that the other day, I should journal the things just to see what exactly like we
Mhm.
feeling. But I
Mhm.
could say like I definitely feel, you know, a difference, especially in circadian rhythm. I definitely feel that. And another thing I was reading that is even like of course carbohydrate is are never good to consume, right? We have to stay as much as possible away from the carbohydrate. But even if people are eating some level of carbohydrate, when they get exposed to the sunlight, because of the GLP production, they utilize those carbohydrates better in their body. And then the carbohydrates, I mean, the mitochondria would take the carbohydrate. We know like it would, you know, create an energy from it, right? Faster than, it would do it from fat, of course, because it needs to get rid of that carbs. That's why
Mhm.
body makes the energy faster.
Mhm.
So the body utilizes those carbohydrates differently just by
That's
being exposed to the sunlight. And that was another fascinating thing for me. Like, okay, like because of the insulin production, because the
yeah.
pancreas. So here's the thing what I'm seeing. And you know how like before you listen to wellness specialists and practitioners, they would say intermittent fasting,
Mhm.
you know, and I have done those, that, me, 20 hours, 18 hours intermittent fasting. So I
Uh-huh.
would wake up in the morning and then I would not eat breakfast. I would eat my kind of brunch around like 12, 1, and
Mhm.
then I would eat dinner and that would be it, right?
Mhm.
So now the another change that I start feeling in my body. So as I wake up, within an hour, I'm starving. I gotta eat something. And this is what I've
Feed
learned
me.
that
Just
because yeah,
I
it's literally like
I
I
can do it
want
if I
to.
sleep for 15 hours.
So I literally have to eat something. And this is what I've learned is like your body when you wake up in the morning, your body start getting ready for day and secretes a lot of enzymes
Mhm.
and
Right.
getting ready to get this energy. So, and whether energy comes from food or from other things, from walking barefoot on the grass or any other thing. So I am like hungry, like literally hungry. Like I gotta eat something. So I'm having my breakfast literally within an hour of waking up. And I am not hungry until about 3, 4 p.m.
Mhm.
And that's the last time I'm eating, about 3, 4 p.m. And until the next morning.
Mhm.
So my kind of hours of intermittent fasting changed, but I did not change them purposely. It's just the way I think that's where the circadian rhythm that balances itself. Because toward the
Mhm.
evening you go, your body slows down. With the
Plus, your
sun,
blood sugar is actually getting regulated. So it's balancing.
yeah.
You're not crashing. You're not doing this all day
No, I'm
long.
not crashing at all. I'm not
Yeah.
getting tired at all throughout the day.
It's just
If
amazing because there's hope. Like I guess that what I'm hearing you is you guys both actually sharing your stories and whatnot. It just shows that there's hope because there's more than just food, exercise, and sleep that you can do. There's so
Mhm.
much more. I mean, isn't
Oh,
there's studies too showing that some people have reversed their type 2 diabetes from sun exposure and then also changing their lifestyles.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I did read a lot about it, like, the being exposed to the sun.
Hmm.
So I would wake up and I would come out, like I would wake up like 8 o'clock, for example, or
Hmm.
even 7 o'clock, but I would lay down in my bed, scroll through my
Hmm.
phone. Do you know what I'm saying? Now it's
Hmm.
just I don't even open the computer, or I don't expose myself to those artificial LED lights as soon as I open my eyes.
Yes.
So I come outside and I want that daylight to the first thing that I want to be exposed to in the morning is the daylight.
Hmm.
So that's what the change that happened was in me. Like instead of picking up taking my phone, so I start coming outside. And those are the changes I start feeling in my body. You know,
Mhm.
I'm gonna just keep going and writing down what I'm experiencing. But I think in a couple of months that I should feel some kind of difference by being exposed to like 4 or 5 hours, not four, I'm talking about 6 hours a day to the sun, you know, just sitting basically trying to work from outside. I just go inside right in the middle of the day because it gets so hot here in Austin, like 95 degrees. Um, yeah, I go in like between 1 and 4, and then I come out again and I just stay until the sun goes down. So I bring my dinner out here. I do everything out here. So that's what I do. I just want to see how true the sun exposure is. But I know I'm not getting tired. I'm not getting exhausted throughout the day. My
Mhm.
basically the functioning level is at the
Mhm.
same level. I'm not exhausted. I'm not tired. I don't want to go sit down. I don't want to go relax.
Mhm.
I don't want to go lay down. None of those things are experiencing. The energy wise is just like very steady throughout the
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
So
Perfect.
yeah,
Now you just
Nice.
inspired the rest of us to do the same.
yes, I'm encouraging people to do the same. I don't think so people would get any harm from it by
Oh,
getting and the other thing
no.
I'm realizing that my eyeglasses are bothering me. And I'm taking them off even when I'm driving right now. Because inside the house I cannot wear them anymore. My glasses, not sunglasses, my just regular glasses. And when I'm driving right now, I would take them off because they're bothering me.
Mhm.
I see better without them. I
Mhm.
don't know, I gotta go and check my eyesight. And if I keep forgetting where I put them now. I take them out because they bother me. I take them out and I put them somewhere. I'm like, where's my glass? Where's my
You must
glass?
not even need them that much if that's the
I
case.
know. It's
I
exactly. I'm
know,
like,
I
that's
know.
good.
I'm just like,
Yeah,
yeah. So
That's
that's
awesome.
like that's a
anything's
story.
possible.
I don't know if anyone has any questions. Did you Annette check the social media if
I
there's
did.
any
There weren't
question?
any.
There weren't
Mm-mm.
any. Okay.
Nope. There were just
Yeah.
some besides the one people are asking who are Dr. Joe. Oh, Wendy did. Joe Dispenza.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's also an awesome what's it called, documentary that I can send to whoever if they do want that, a copy of it for Dr. Joe Dispenza. I do have
Hmm.
access to that from his company. And
Yeah.
so I think yeah, it was just I think we got everything. Deb answered, so we're good on chat and
Cool.
Oh,
stuff. So yeah. What a great discussion, you guys. Like
talk.
really it
It is
is.
good talk.
And
Yeah.
it's just awesome because like, if you think about it, like there are some serious miracles that can happen for people. We just need to know what to do and how to do it. And then
Yeah.
actually do them.
Yeah.
Which is why a coach is very helpful because they help you be accountable.
Yes.
Yeah. It's fascinating how deep we go uh into like as a coaches, we kind of go deeper to understand human body like
Mhm.
than most of the doctors would do, unfortunately. Or healthcare people would do. Um, just for me, it's just I just want to understand for myself, but at the same time, it helps me to help clients.
Mhm.
Like my thoughts on helping someone became wider by going into the quantum biology.
Mhm.
Like
Hmm.
understanding body better. So it's like, there's additional things we can implement and we don't have to pay tons of money for it,
Mhm.
to implement those and we can help them out like that. Our
Hmm.
Absolutely.
clients. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, everybody. That was such a wonderful discussion. We'll be
Yes.
back the first week of October, right? That's our next one.
October.
Oh,
Can you believe
fall
it?
Are
time.
we in oh my gosh. Yeah, we are going into the October.
Oh,
Yeah. But still, yeah, we're happy
Love
you
it.
guys joined us. And, if there's any topic you would like to discuss, let us know. We'll happily look into that and discuss those topics. Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you,
Okay.
everyone. Have a good night.